So here's the interesting thing. I have probably written and recorded 2 or 3 episodes on Marvel Rivals, all based on the same premise. Competition is good. Competition is healthy. It will help the industry to grow and the hero shooter genre as a whole to grow, particularly Overwatch 2, which has had no competitor for a really long time at this point. It's been probably close to a decade, if not longer, and no one is competing with Overwatch 2. So imagine my surprise when I open up Discord and see that someone has linked an article saying that, Netease laid off the Seattle team for Marvel Rivals. Hold on, Marvel Rivals, who had 10 million players within the first 72 hours, who made 130 million plus in the first month alone, that Marvel Rivals? I frequently get comments saying, I don't know how you stay calm talking about these topics, and how do you keep your emotions in check? And I will be honest, today I probably won't. The amount of fury that went through my just whole body when I read that title on that news article and continues to as more information comes out. Oh, but it's only 6 people, Alana. It's not that many. It's only 6 people. It's not that many. Netease brought in net $2.9 billion net. That isn't just for Marvel Rivals. They have other games. But that is after you pay for production on games. That is after you pay for wages. That is after everything has been deducted. I guess let's just get into it. I live in a country that loves to rally around one thing, a common enemy. In Canada, a lot of our identity seems to be non-existent until we have a cause to rally around. I'd like to think gamers can be similar at times too. Fragmented, except for when an enemy appears, we can all rally around them, kind of take them down together. In 2009, the Chapman's factory burned down in Markdale, Ontario. Chapman's, rather than packing it in and calling it a day, kept everyone on the payroll. They recovered the recipes from the help of workers who had them memorized after working 10 years at the company. Not a single person lost their job, despite the devastating blow to the company. I still know Canadians to this day that only buy Chapman's ice cream. In 2010, we had the Winter Olympic Games held in Vancouver. There are a few times where I can remember Canadians all wearing red and white scarves with our flag on it, mittens, hats, or even jackets. Everyone was tuning in, and it was a super important moment for us as a country. 2014 rolls around, and Heinz Ketchup sells its 100-year-old tomato processing plant in Leamington, Ontario. Farmers and workers were suddenly left with the simple question of, what do I do next? French's, a brand known for making mustard, stepped in and started producing in Canada. The amount of customers Heinz lost was astronomical at the time, and from what I've been told, although I can't quite find a firm source on it, is that some Heinz ketchup bottles were pulled temporarily from grocery stores. Canadians were mad. In 2024, the beginning of Boycott Loblaws happened. Loblaws is a grocery store conglomerate in Canada that owns a majority of chains. Unfortunately, prices are continuing to rise, as well as their profits, and we wanted to take action. Canadians wanted to take action. Finally, in Q4 2024, we are seeing the effects. Profits are down. Boycotts can have power. Our actions, our money, speaks volume to companies that desire our attention span. Video game companies in particular want our attention span for as long as possible. With a constant push for live service games, our time is something that games like Marvel Rivals are striving for. Having our attention for as long as possible means Netease has a better chance of getting a few bucks off of you along the way too. Maybe a few bucks every year for the next 10 years. I will say this, like I did in the beginning. I have written, recorded, and edited videos about Marvel Rivals 3 times now. Every time I finally get to edit it, information has changed so rapidly that I can't in good conscience publish it anymore. The general consensus was, though, competition is one of the most important things for every video game. Marvel Rivals will push Blizzard, the developers of Overwatch, to release more content. I don't think Overwatch is playing second fiddle permanently, and the dance has just begun between the two companies. Given the recent announcement from Blizzard launching possibly the biggest update to Overwatch 2, I still believe this is true. Let's be honest, Blizzard has been sitting on their butts for years in regards to Overwatch. It was popular enough, they didn't have any real competition, and the hero shooter genre is so broad that they still had their spot staked out quite nicely. They were complacent. And I was super excited to see how Netease and Blizzard would continually battle it out over the next few years. I thought we were in store for a new best Overwatch state of the game type situation. What I did not expect was for Netease to dig themselves a grave, lay out a casket, willingly crawl inside, and apply the first nail to the coffin themselves. But let's rewind to the launch of Marvel Rivals. In the first 72 hours of Marvel Rivals being out, they reached 10 million players. These are unprecedented numbers. The games that get close or supersede these numbers on Steam are single-player games that have relatively large launches. Black Myth Wukong being one of them in 2024. In less than 14 days, Marvel Rivals passed 20 million players. I want to make something very clear. These are not small numbers for a brand new live service game. Marvel Rivals was growing at an exceptionally fast rate, and people were and are continuing to play it. January 10th, just a little over a month after release, the game made over $130 million for Netease in 1 month. Marvel Rivals was still growing, and now it's making a pretty penny. And then on February 18th, Netease broke ground on the grave it intended to make for itself. They laid off the developers working on the game in the Seattle office. There are no Seattle-based developers currently working on Marvel Rivals. There seems to be a few misconceptions running around. This was just the localization team for North America. Wrong answer. These developers, hardworking, talented individuals, they did level design. One was the director for the office. Can we just talk about how crazy this is? Because every day something new is coming out and it's more and more damning to Netease. I just saw something, I haven't dug into it, but there's allegedly one of them was responsible for hero abilities. Hero abilities! These are not people who are sitting there just localizing content and making sure it's good for North America. They're not just translating things. They're not just taking something that you usually outsource to a different service and saying, okay, we're contracting you temporarily, so you can make this okay for us to publish in North America. These are employees that were shocked and rocked to their core and posted on LinkedIn like, it's a successful game. Why have we lost our jobs? But having finishing their grave, Netease slowly pulled a coffin out and hopped in as if to shout at the gaming industry, go ahead, hate me, you won't actually bury me. On February 20th, the cat was out of the bag. Marvel Rivals crossed 40 million players. Laying down comfortably in the coffin, the taunt, the first nail has been driven in. Netease has made $2.9 billion net revenue. I want to make something astonishingly clear for any of you who are about to hit the comments. Net revenue is what you make after expenses are deducted, after employees have been paid, after development costs are deducted. Netease walked away with $2.9 billion padding their pockets. And we're just accepting that they've laid off staff during this time? During an incredibly profitable and successful time for the company? Did you know that the layoffs recently have been so significant that there's a large Wikipedia article called 2023 to 2024 video game industry layoffs? Because I sure didn't. Not until I started looking into layoff numbers over the past few years. Let's take a tour together. Starting in January 2023, 726, 386, 1,305, 431, 1,268, 1,058, 295, 623, 1,118, 346, 2,775, 135, 10,466 layoffs that are recorded in 2023 alone. January 2024, 5,995, 2,027, 597, 1,003, 705, 632, 368, 371, 1,003, 597, 803, 538, 14,639 layoffs in 2024. Over 25,000 people were laid off in 2 years in the gaming industry. It was studio after studio after studio. Electronic Arts, Microsoft Gaming, Sony, Epic Games, Sega, Ubisoft, Riot, countless other studios jumped in on the layoffs. Over 30 studios were closed. 10 significant AAA title games were cancelled, including multiple live service games. And suddenly, we seemingly don't care. Because it's Marvel Rivals, because we want to keep playing the game, because it's only 6 employees, because we want to shove our heads in the sand, because we just don't care. We do not care about the fact that a studio walked away with $2.9 billion in net profits while also laying off employees. You cannot tell me that they laid off enough staff to meet the cost of $2.9 billion yearly. Do we all remember how much $2.9 billion is? That's an astronomically large number. That is way more money than most of us will ever see in our lifetime. I am not here to tell you what to do. I am not going to tell you to care, although I think you should, to stop playing Marvel Rivals, to stop spending money on the game. But I am asking you to think about the decision you are making by continually supporting a company that is acting so nefariously. And I want to take a moment to say, for all of us out there that did not research Netease that much, that just played Marvel Rivals with friends, this is not on you. We didn't know. We didn't know that this company I did not know this company behaved in this way. I played this game and I played it with friends and I really enjoyed it. And I was looking forward to getting back to it. But I've spent too much time talking about layoffs in the industry and how much it bothers me. I spent too much time watching content from the Game Awards, other content creators, or even just listening to my friends talk about layoffs. I cannot throw these hours upon hours spent listening, reading, contemplating on the issue into the trash. I will instead take the easiest action I ever could. Stop playing the free-to-play game I have spent $0 on. Even if I had spent money on this game, I would no longer be playing it. This is not a game I cannot return. This is not Hi-Fi Rush or Dragon Age. This is not some AAA studio game that me no longer playing will have little to no impact on the developers that have already been laid off. This is a live service currently being worked on, raking in tons of money for the company video game. But this time, I have not put any money into it, only time. Netease does not deserve my time, my attention, or money regarding Marvel Rivals. I will not in good conscience sit down to play this game, which I was enjoying, when I could simply click uninstall. After all, this is just a game, making a lot of money, and people lost their livelihoods over developing a game that has taken the gaming world by storm. They won't notice one player gone, but they may notice a few hundred or a few 100,000. I'm hoping it'll be more than that, but I don't know. I don't think anyone knows anymore. And I'm just so tired that we are all sitting around saying we care so much about the layoffs. And we care so much about what's happening to this industry that we want to see succeed and we want to see being taken care of seriously. That these developers can be supported and have good jobs and deliver us better content. And then we have the opportunity to make a change and make a difference. To stop playing Marvel Rivals. To not support this. And we're all going to sit around and agree with the Reddit comments that are saying it's only 6 people. It's not that big of a deal. It's only 6 people. They didn't really do anything. They didn't really do much. We know there was a level designer in there. We're pretty sure now there was someone who worked on the ability designs. We know these people worked on this game. These people worked on these games. And layoffs happen. I know they do. I'm part of an industry that does seasonal layoffs where I'm from. That's part of my job. That's part of my workflow. But I know that at the end of winter, I have a job waiting for me. And it is the unfortunate reality that every job that has been stripped from those developers working for Netease are walking into an industry with, at minimum, 20,000 less jobs than it had before. And I don't think those numbers are fully correct. I think there's a lot more jobs that we lost that we're not talking about. I am just so tired of everything coming back to layoffs. And for once, I let myself believe that a wildly successful game like Marvel Rivals would not come back to layoffs. My name is Elena, and you've been listening to Beyond the Button Mash. You can join the discussion for each episode in the YouTube comments or on Discord. Beyond the Button Mash is available on major podcasting platforms like YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Thanks for listening.